Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bertie live show. And we are unpacking and picking Bertie's brain every week. And today we're going to talk about vision, and we're going to deep dive that. How are you doing, Bertie? How was your week?
I'm doing very well. The weeks are getting more and more busier, fuller and fuller. I cannot, with all due respect, understand why there's only 24 hours in a day. Why can't we get more?
Yes. The problem of every entrepreneur is that we don't have enough time. So that's something that we can actually go and unpack one day. But today we're going to focus on vision, Bertie. So I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask you. And we're going to see how the conversation goes. So let's unpack and start with what is your definition of vision?
I had to create my own. Because when I embarked down this road of creating a vision with imagination, and I tried to get an answer to the definition of a vision, I couldn't really find that, other than having to turn to the Bible, and because the prophets and so forth constantly were receiving visions and instructions from God or from the angels, wherever during their sleep, and they woke up in the morning and had a concept, an idea in their mind. And to a certain extent, it's exactly what a vision is all about. But I had to create something that resonates with me, and I would hope and trust it resonate with everybody out there. So my definition of a vision is an imagined reflection of your perceived future. Imagined reflection of your perceived future. Keyword is your in the middle, because it's yours. It's how you see it, and therefore how you're going to live it once you've defined and clarified it.
Okay, just say that again for me. Imagined perception of future. What is it?
Now, imagined reflection of your perceived future.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about, I think this question, I want to go into what and why. So let's break that up. And another definition speaks to the what, but can you elaborate a little bit on what is a vision really for an individual?
A vision links to your purpose in life. So in defining where you want to go and the why, so it also therefore links to the answer to your own why question. So often I get confronted, and I suppose many of us is challenged by the question is why I'm here. Why were I born, and what is the overall purpose of me being on earth? And that to me comes together in a vision. To have clarity on what you want to achieve and where do you want to go, what direction you should be taking to find your answer. And it's not really equal to a legacy. Legacy is something else you left behind that people will remember you of. Could tie in with your vision that you see that one day there will be a legacy living after you've passed away. But a vision could be equate to a dream, but dreams could lead to your vision, and dreams not necessarily is equal to your vision, nor is goals. Goals is interim steps to it, so that you can get to your overall vision one day.
Okay, so and why is a vision so important for you?
It's focus. A vision helps you to focus, because the problem that we have, and I'm going to use we all the time, and I include myself, we get distracted so often and so easily because there's so many choices, and then there's also so many changes, and there's so many challenges in our road. So we sometimes find that we choose the easier road instead of the road less traveled. And your vision might be at the end of the road less challenged and less traveled, because that is where the answer to your future lies, in that road less traveled. So it is in one word, it is focus. It gives you focus, and it helps you to go down that road. The distractions are then to the side, because the challenge you're going to put to yourself then, if you understand the vision where you're going and the road you're taking, is that you can say to yourself and challenge yourself, will this so-called opportunity or distraction take you closer to your goal or away from your goal? So that is why in LinkedIn, that is focus part of the purpose of driving yourself towards your vision.
Patty, before we carry on with the rest of the what I want to talk about, can you identify and define for us what distractions are? What does that look like? What are distractions that's going to pull you away from following your vision?
Yeah, maybe one day we must talk about snakes and ladders, and then I can then explain it a little bit better. But that would mean that we need about 30-40 minutes to do exactly that. But the distractions is really what we see as opportunities. It's a nice things that happen in life that sort of take our speed away and sometimes take our energies away, but also sometimes can energize us, but in a different direction. It is like you want to travel to a specific destination, and en route you end up having a party here, and then somebody tells you, listen, if we go 50 kilometers that way, there's a beautiful shop that you can buy XYZ. And then you go there, and 50 kilometers away from there, then there's another 20 kilometers from there. There's another beautiful little town with another opportunity for you to buy some stuff. And at the end of the day, a 2-hour trip to wherever you wanted to go becomes a 4-hour, 5-hour, 6-hour trip. That could be nice. And many of these distractions quite nice. And if you look back and saying, yeah, I enjoyed that. But then if you challenge yourself and say, why didn't I reach my goals, the interim goals that I've set to myself? Because you were distracted by those niceties. It's like in youngsters, I always tell them that if you are focused and you have a vision for yourself, reaching certain performance standards or achievements on the sport field, if you are focused, you are able to say no so much easier to distractions. Let's say I have to play trails on a Saturday morning, and my friends come to me and say to me, listen, there's a lovely party at Peter's place. Are you going to join us? Come with us, man. Don't sit in front of the TV and join us. Just come have some fun. If you don't have that purpose, it's going to be difficult for you to say no because I don't feel like it. But now you can say to them, no, I must be at my best. I want to peak tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed early so that I'm prepared for those trials tomorrow. I can always have a party another day, but I can't have another child. And if I'm not at my best, I'm not going to make the team. And I'll be extremely unhappy with myself, and I can't blame my friends because I didn't say a solid enough no to my friends because I didn't have that focus.
And I think you can relate that also to, your business hustle or studying. So they could say, instead of studying, hey, let's go out. But you've got something tomorrow that you need to ace, or it could possibly even be Friday and it's Wednesday today, but you know that you have a certain amount of preparation to do. And for business as well, all the motivational and the business people that we watch online and we get to hear their stories and so on, they are constantly talking about, they're successful because they had a choice. Like my mentor, for instance, packed ice at his dad's liquor store on a Saturday and on Sundays and during the week after school. They constantly ask him, hey, come and play, come and let's go watch sport, let's go out, whatever the case may be. And he said, "You know what? I'm resolute. That's what I want to do." And you might be building, busy building a business. Like me and you both are working on projects right now, and it's keeping us busy till 10, 11 at night. And we could say, you know what? Am I going to watch Netflix, or am I going to put in another hour or 2 or 3 working on a project that I know is going to pay off in the future, and I'm putting in the time right now?
It's so true. Adding to that, you need to plan for the unforeseen. I mean, you're planning a lot of things. This morning, once again, I had load shedding. So I had 2 webinars that I had to attend, and of which the first one I needed to give input to decision making, and there we sit with load shedding. So you must be able to prepare for those unforeseen things. So you can't just say to yourself, "Listen, I know I've got 4 hours work to do, and it must be finished by tomorrow afternoon at 4, so I can start at 12." Things like that becomes a habit that and it's not procrastination. It's just as part of a makeup. And I've got that challenge in my own life, procrastination. But some things just become a habit. So it's habit forming to be able to delay and to set it out, because there's always things that distracts your focus, and you don't make your deadlines, and opportunities go by. You can't say to an opportunity, "Come back tomorrow," because I'll be ready tomorrow. The opportunity passes you by now. If you don't grab it, it's gone forever. So that is extremely important. But the moment you focus, and you just asked me just now, how do I know about these distractions? But the counter question is also there. How do I know when there's an opportunity? So that when I'm focused towards my vision, opportunities will come, and they always will. And because you focus, you'll be able to see them. And if you're distracted, opportunities may look like an opportunity. They may like something that you want to take. Maybe, oh, no, that's going to be too time consuming. It's going to be too difficult. And at the end of the day, you don't reach your goals because you've been distracted. You didn't see the wood from the forest.
Bertie, we spoke about this before, but I want to bring it back because I think this is something that relates to what we're talking about. Distractions could also come in the form of something that's perceived as a better opportunity. I spoke to you about this before, where in our family's lives we are in a current situation, but we know. I'm talking about I'm working on a certain project, or I'm in a certain direction, or whatever. Or we as a family, my wife has a certain job, I have a certain job. We know where we're going because we've got goals. And now something comes along, and at that point, because you've got vision, a lot of times you're seeding and you're paving a way, and you're not earning what you maybe want to earn. And so opportunity comes along, and they say, "Hey, I've got a job for you here, and you're going to earn this amount." And it's either the same or above what you want to eventually earn. But it's not your purpose. It's not what you need to do. You know deep in yourself, you've got a calling, you've got a purpose, you need to do something. It burns inside of you, and maybe you're going to be an Elon Musk one day, or you're working in that direction, or you're going to be the founder of Virgin Airlines or whatever. Though that's your trajectory, that's where you're going. And then these, and we also spoke about before, shiny objects. You have these shiny objects currently coming along and distracting you from your vision. So do you agree those things come along, and then sometimes it's hard passing on those opportunities and saying, "No, I'm not going to take this opportunity, even though in the short term it's going to solve some financial issues for me, or I'm going to earn more so I can drive a better car, I can live in a better house, etc. But it's not going to take you where you want to go."
What you're saying is it's so true, but we must also be realistic about it. Life is equally not fair, but equally not as structured and planned as we wanted. So it's full of challenges, and sometimes things might look as being an opportunity because it might look great, but underlying to it, it is not there. But then, if you are focused on a vision which is bigger than yourself, and a vision is not necessarily something that is a year, 6 months from here, a year from here. A vision is much, much greater than that. It's an overall purpose that I have. And people then ask me, and I want to interrupt myself here and saying, Bertie, when would you know you get to that vision of yours? I say you don't. I can't tell you, because to me, the answer in the answer to that vision lies in getting to a situation where there's fanfare and music and just a lot of things that are happening around you, where people congratulate you. You've made it and you've done it, because you couldn't really plan it, because a vision is not so structured. At the end of the day, and say, I walk up the stairs and I get to stair number 100. Now I've reached my goal. Now I've reached my overall vision. It's not that way. It's a clear future. It could be almost never ending, or it could be interim little goals that you make towards that vision. Okay, so if we are real, for example, in the times we're living now, I could have a clear vision where I want to go, and clear defined my why, and everybody around me knows that. But so the interim, something happens. I lose my job. So I lose my income. My first priority is still survival. Maslow hierarchy, I can be in the top of this triangle and saying I'm living up there. But if I lose my existence, my income, and all of a sudden it's about survival, the bottom line in a Maslow hierarchy, then I can't stay up there. I need to go where I'm desperately needed at the moment. So I may have to go out and find an alternative position that is probably not going to get me close to my goal, possibly not. But in the survival mode that I am at present, I need to take that opportunity that offers me an income so that I can look after who is important to me, myself and my family. But that's interim. That's for the interim, and that is on the snakes and ladders game that I have. That is when the snakes come past you and you've got no choice. It puts you back. But it doesn't end your game. You are still focused on the overall game. So you are able to get up and continue down that road. So, and that is why, if the same applies when you get opportunities that look fantastic, bright and shiny, as you say, a lot of money, a lot of status and whatever comes with it. But it's an interim thing that might just take you away from your goal overall, and distract you to such an extent that you have to create a new vision. May that never happen, but it's reality. It can. So what is important that, and I think we spoke about that some other time when we spoke about mentorship, where one of the elements of mentorship is to have a devil's advocate that you yourself has entrusted with where you're heading, where you're going. That is why in the modern life, coaches are so important, because you work with somebody to help you, not just to stay focused, but to make the right decisions, because you're making decisions from your core, from inside here. Because in here and in your subconscious mind, you know what is right and what is wrong. But it's so easy to get distracted if it looks shiny and lovely. Just that one chocolate that upset the apple cart in your diet. Because if I can take one chocolate, I can take two, and I can take three, and there goes my diet. And I was doing so well, but the devil brought that chocolate on my path, and I'm distracted and I'm unrailed. So the devil's advocate is therefore the person that you can go to say, listen, granddad, daddy, my friend Paul, you know where I'm heading. I got this opportunity. Gee whiz, isn't it exciting? What do you say? Is this going to take me closer to my goal, or is it going to take me away from my goal? I need your guidance, please. And we need that because we in our person in ourself doesn't have all the answers. We never will. So we need some help, and we must be courageous enough to turn to others to help us carry us sometimes in our path.
Here in my household, I try to train my family to not look at what I call excuses or negatives. Now, why? Let's not focus on the reasons why things won't work. Let's find the one way that it can work. And I said that because I want to set up, for instance, excuses as also being a distraction or a reason why you won't reach your goal. Because let's say, for instance, in your business, I have to take a certain amount of meetings every month to build my business and to grow my clientele, etc. And so, and because of maybe fear or insecurity, you'll find excuses like this person's too far, that time doesn't suit me. Sometimes, you and me both. Sometimes you have to take a call with a client at 9 or 10 at night. Sometimes you have to do a webinar at 2 in the morning. And sometimes that's what it takes to reach your goals and to fulfill your vision. Do you want to speak to us a little bit about the excuses that we make to that we sabotage ourselves essentially because we know what needs to be done, but we find excuses of why those things cannot be done, or we won't be able to do them, and at the end of the day we are shooting ourselves in the foot because of that.
I'm glad you asked that. You asked that question and made that statement, because at the end of the day, excuses becomes habit forming. In other words, it doesn't matter what challenge you get in life, you work on excuse first of why you're not going to make it, why you're not going to make the deadline, why wouldn't it work for you, whatever the case may be. And some people, it's so natural, and that's why I'm saying it's habit forming. That I work on my excuse first rather than on the reason that I would make it and I'm not going to miss it. Wow. So the moment I've got the excuse, I've got a back door. And the more excuse I've got, the more feet I've got in that door. And I don't even take up the challenge because I know exactly why it won't work and why it won't work for me, why I don't want to take that road. And then once we've done the excuse game, we go on to the blame game, because then we blame everybody else for exactly the reason why I didn't start it at all. Okay, and that's it's incredible. And if we don't believe that, and if you don't like what I'm saying, just go back to the beautiful, fantastic mirror that never lies. Sit in front of it and start telling your story to it, and listen to yourself, whether you buy that story or whether it's just that excuse that is so natural. I mean, we unpack them like a deck of cards. Which excuse am I going to use here now? Wow. I never even tried to go down that difficult road, that the one that less traveled. Courage.
All right. Bertie, let's delve a little bit into the benefits of having a vision.
I started out by saying, when we, in terms of having a vision, it is so important. Now I'm doing a talk one of these days and to a group in Canada, Toronto, Canada, and it is a group of people that has come together. It's actually an organization that formed out of single people, especially single people that is in the latter part of the years. In other words, retirees. And in preparing for the talk, one thing that come to my mind once again is that the principle that I use, and you can see it on my logo to the top right, the eagle, is that we must be able to elevate ourselves away from the challenges, the problems of the here and now. Because as long as you sit where you're at, those will be part of your excuses why you cannot. And if you want to move into why not, and why not yet, and that I can instead of I cannot, then you must elevate yourself. And the moment you elevate yourself from the here and now, and you look down at your challenges and your problems, they become so immaterial and so small, because you see the answers that is so many more than the challenges that they thought you had. Because I'm only sitting in this chair, and in this chair there's a lot of problems, but the solutions doesn't necessarily lie here. Not all solutions lie in myself. I must move away from this situation and look at it at different eyes. And for that matter, from the eagle's point of view, looking all over the show. So the problem solving becomes so much easier and almost natural if I see it wider. And that's why in creating that vision, as I said, it's imagined. Okay? It's imagined, but it is a reflection of how you see yourself and your future, what you really would love for yourself. It's imagined reflection and of your perceived future. Nobody else's. It's yours. The moment I've got a perception about something, it becomes my fact. And therefore, if I have a perceived future, it's my factual future. It's mine. Nobody else's. And nobody must come and tell me it's impossible to reach it. If I can imagine it, can perceive it, I can create it. And in that definition that I was saying, your imagined reflection of your perceived future, creating a vision from there gives you a picture of where I see myself in the future. And once again, the eagle comes into play, because the eagle can see much further than me and you, because we've got a horizon that's limiting us. If not just the house next to me, walls that's making my horizon a couple of meters from here, other than when I'm in a veld that I can see kilometers away. So we are limited by our own perceived also parameters in which we live. So we move out there. And that's why the vision is so important. So the moment I've got that, there is no reason why I can't achieve it, because I've perceived it within my parameters and my capabilities, and I can make it. I don't need people to really achieve my vision, because the moment you need people, you may step on people and use them, abuse them, and to get to your end state. And if you look back and you look back from where you're at, and you say, on my path, there's a lot of skeletons of people that I've abused, then that vision of yours doesn't look so pretty anymore, because the price you've paid to get there is going to leave you extremely lonely if and when you do reach your vision. And that it's not what you want either. You want to reach your vision and have everybody around you be as happy as you, in terms of you creating that vision for you that you've created, living it and achieving it. Because it's not the end of your life, that vision. There might be interim states in terms of that you create visions en route to overall purpose for your life. So if that answers your question, and Ivan, if your vision, I always say, if your vision is clear enough, it will pull yourself into the future, because you'll be so focused that the speed with which you're moving will be extraordinary. Then you will end up like an Elon Musk and go to Mars and start establishing a life on Mars, because that is his imagined vision for his future, his perceived future, and he's working on it. He's making the rockets. He's flying out there. He's creating it. So he at this stage, I would say he would be not surprised about reaching his vision. He'll be surprised in not making it, That clear is his vision in his mind. And that's how yours must be.
I think if we talked about motivation, that would kind of connect with benefits. Um, what what do you think is the number one motivation or motivation for people to have a vision or to formulate a vision or to at least have a vision for the future? Is it just I'll be successful, I'll reach my goal, I'll be fulfilled? What is that motivation that people should have?
Just remember, we in the process of defining that vision in my in the book and in my book and in my course that I have, part of that is to get your equation, your life equation right. Passion plus purpose equals prosperity, and that prosperity could equate to how you define your vision, because that prosperity doesn't mean money in the bank. It's much more than that. But you have to have passion and understand your why. You must have your purpose where you're going and understand that why too, to have your life in balance in order to reach that goal and to live it in the here and now and appreciate where you're going. So you cannot do it without passion and purpose. And once again, if you drive prosperity, which might in that sense be money for now, your formula is out of sync. You may get your money, but you would have lost your passion and your purpose of life. And you don't want to create all of this and then end up on an island, nobody to share it with.
Can we finally deal with clarity of future? What is the clarity? What is clarity of future about?
Clarity of future would lie in that vision, but that I go back and say once again, it's your perceived future. It's how you see it, and if you can see it clear enough, that will give you that clarity of where you're heading, so that you are able to see the opportunities and also start living your end state and realize when you get to your end state. Okay, so the clarity. I can use an example in terms of let's use rugby in South Africa and the World Cup of 2019, where South Africa went to the World Cup definitely not as the favorites, but more so as the underdogs. And when the coach Erasmus was given the task of preparing a team for the World Cup, I can promise you he created a vision, and he had a vision in his mind, not of scoring the last try and winning that match, but seeing his team on the podium with all the noise and the crackers and the funfair of celebrating them lifting the World Cup, the Alice World Cup. That is what he saw. That was his vision. And then only did he start to coach his team, because his plans were laid out, because he was clear where he's going, his why, and he's got his focus on it. And the fact that rugby was his passion was just an added benefit. So the prosperity that he had and that he lived is that cup that was lifted, and he could also drink from it. But it wasn't every single match. That was interim goals and steps towards his vision. He had it clear in his mind. If somebody would have asked him, what do you see? He would probably be able to explain an element of that, because he was also on the winning side as a player. So he understood what it's like to be on that podium. But that's the kind of things that we need to do. And a lot of people that embark down roads of success and achieving the success, experience the success long before they actually got the medal or the trophy. Because what's up here, They've already achieved that.
Okay. We got Shander Sharma, who's, I think he's one of your fans. He says, passion and purpose equals prosperity. Excellent. Very well said. So thank you, Shander. We appreciate your contribution there. And just a side note, we did, in one of our previous sessions, we've unpacked, how do I formulate a vision? How do I get it together, etc. So please go and look on Bertie's YouTube channel, Bertie Leroux, and get some insight on how that works. Thank you so much, Bertie, for spending time with me today. Do you have any final thoughts on vision that you want to share?
I want to conclude by saying, if we don't have a vision, in other words, if we don't have goals, even though I define goals as being interim steps on the way to your goal, it's like being on a boat on the ocean with no engine and no sail. Anything will take you anywhere, any wind, any storm, any current, and that's what we want to be. We were born unique with a purpose, and therefore gifted accordingly. So we must use our gifts, define our purpose in our life, live our life accordingly. Not try to live anybody else's life. That's not why you were born. So create your own visions, create your own dreams, and just go out there and live them. It's up to you. As we always say, if it's to be, it's up to me. So if it's to be, it's up to you. Just take it. It's there already. It's yours. Don't live other people's dreams. That's not why you were born.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you so much to everyone that's been watching. If you have any questions, especially if you watch this after we have gone live, we'd love for you to post your comments and your thoughts, and Bertie will get back to you. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Thank you so much, Bertie, for speaking to us about this and unpacking vision for us this week.
Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again next week on Tuesday at 4 o'clock.